Alright, nuts and bolts. Hey, my hair's on fire. Oh wait, it's just my welding cap. Let's get crazy. So, just an update video on the 1985 SP600F, which I originally thought was a 1987 DR600 because the guy that on Craigslist that sold it to me told me that's what it was, and checking the plate, the sticker on the neck tube, it's actually a 1985 SP600. There's very little difference between the DR and the SP. The SP, apparently the only really main difference is the carburetor. I think the SP was more of a marketed as a economic model, economy model, where the it has a CV carb, a little bit more fuel efficient, but not as power producing as the slide carb that the DR had. I don't know if that's actually the difference or not, or if it's the only difference. But as far as I've found, there isn't a whole lot out there on the SP600. Nobody's really heard of that bike. There's a few forums where people were considering picking them up on Craigslist, much the way I found mine. So, alright, so a lot has happened since the last video I did on this bike, and a lot hasn't happened for the time that I've been working, or the time since the last video. I've been actually working on a family friend's Jeep. They spun a bearing, so I've been working on that mainly. So that's been taking a lot of time, taken away from the bike project. Somebody commented on the last video on this bike about getting the tittle set up first, because this bike does not have a tittle, and that would be a good idea. I do know the system now. I know what it's going to take in order to get a lost title for this thing, and I've already started the process. And there's no shortcuts to be made. There's only the system and how it works. I don't know, I feel like I'm missing some part of the explanation there, but anyways, the way it works here in Washington State to claim for a lost title, I have the last registered owner and their last contact address, which I have to mail a certified letter to, asking them to sign an affidavit signing over release of the title wherever it may be, and basically releasing the bike. If they have the title somehow, they could just sign it over to me and it would be done. But if that's not the case, then they have to sign that affidavit, send it back to me, and then I can claim for a lost title on that. If they no longer live at that address, that's the reason that the letter has to be sent, certified, return a receipt, mail, so that the mail can be tracked. If they no longer live there, then it is sent back to me. I do not open it. I cannot open that mail because it is addressed to somebody else. I have to take that letter unopened, and then I have to schedule an inspection with the Department of Transportation, and then have the bike inspected. From what I understand, it's not any type of safety inspection. It's more of inspecting to see if the thing is stolen or if it has stolen parts on it. Once I get those two things done, then I take those to the DMV, and then they can issue me a 3-year registration in lieu of title. So that basically allows me to drive it and register it in Washington State here. I can't sell it out of state or try to license it out of state during that time. That also gives it a 3-year probation period where anybody can step forward and claim ownership of the bike. If that does not happen within that 3-year period, then I am issued a title. So that's where that's at. I haven't had time. I've got the affidavit and letter drafted up to get ready to send to the last known address. I just haven't done that, and I haven't scheduled the DOT inspection. But I have been doing some work on it, and right now that's what I'm going to get to on the engine here, because the Kickstarter shaft was leaking oil. So I've been actually ordering a ton of parts for this thing. That's another update too. So my whole budget for this bike has been based off of the sale of my 1980 GS750 Cafe Racer project. I ended up selling that for $875. So that was my entire budget for this bike, including the cost of the bike. I've since maxed that out, but I've got a ton of parts. I venture to say I have everything I need for the bike. So, with a budget of $875, I purchased the bike for $350, and then the remainder I've spent in parts. The parts weren't as hard to find as I thought. Mostly they were available on eBay. There was 2 parts bikes listed on eBay. I think there was 2 people in California, totally unrelated, were parting out 2 of these bikes. So I was able to pick up some original replacement parts for it. And then as well as I've ordered some new parts, one of which being this oil seal. So let's get to that. Zoom in here. So that is the Kickstarter shaft. Turn that right there. It's the Kickstarter shaft right here. You can see it's actually labeled Kickstarter right on the case. Hope this isn't going to sit here and hunt for focus. I wish I would have got the camera rolling when I was pulling the seal. I'm not a professional mechanic, so a lot of this stuff I've never done before. This is the old seal. See if I can pull that up into focus. It's going to focus that close. Come on, you can do it. Almost there. Okay. I'll have to zoom back a little bit. Alright, so this camera's terrible. Alright, that's pretty much got it there. I don't know if you can really tell. It's mostly mangled from me pulling it out. I just had to get creative and kind of go off of stuff I've seen before, pull from experiences I've seen before. Gosh, this camera sucks. Anyways, what I did, this was down on there, and then first I used a little scribe hook dealy and tried hooking into it and pulling it out. It was too tight, so what I ended up doing was just taking some drywall screws, if you can see that, and that's put into a pair of vice grips. So I screwed the screw in and I clamped the vice grips on it, and then just put the vice grips over the shaft, and then used a screwdriver to pry against the shaft and to the back of the vice grips, and then I had to screw it into about 3 different places, and it popped right out that way. The screw had a tendency to want to slip out, but I just kept working it around, and then it finally just popped right out. So it was actually pretty slick doing it that way. pretty good. So now, you missed that part, but now I'm going to show you installation of the new one. If I can get this thing to focus again. Alright, so the trick with this, I'm actually using a trick that, what do I do with the new seal? Oh no! There it is. So this is an original Suzuki OEM part. I got, oh you can't see. I got this thing off of Partzilla, in addition with a bunch of seat grommets. Stuff I didn't think I was going to be able to find, but they had them. So there's the new seal. It looks exactly like fork seal. Even has the spring in the back. So I'm actually going to use a fork seal trick in order to get this over the shaft without hopefully damaging it. So again, this is a trick I've seen on a lot of fork seal replacement videos. You take any type of plasticky, smooth tape and put it over the bumpy parts. Now this is kind of a lot of tape. So hopefully I'm not increasing the shaft size too much. And then you just leave this hanging off the end. Oh, it was out of focus for that. Great. So, zoom in some more. Oops, I'm getting in digital zoom now. Don't want that. Right, that's what you get. Alright, so I've just put tape over the splines for the shaft. I'm going to use white lithium grease to make sure I haven't got any dirt on the end of this tube. Basically, I'm just lubing up the inside of the seal so it slides on there. I do want it to seat, so I don't want too much oil or grease in there. Alright, let's try that. Like butter. Oh, I should put it on the outside too. So when it slides inside the housing. Just a skin. I don't want that to unseat. Sorry, I apologize for this camera, it's terrible. It's pretty handy to use, but its autofocus is terrible. Alright, now let's see how smoothly this sucker goes down in there. Try to keep it even. I'm gonna have to drive it on with something. Alright. I'll just show you here. So, and by the way, these nicks on here were already there when I got the thing. It's about how far I could get it on just with my fingers. So I'm going to have to find something to try to drive it on in the rest of the way. Alright, so I've grabbed myself a little PVC coupling. which appears like it's going to be just perfect. Except there's a little shoulder inside of there that won't allow it to go all the way over the shaft, so I'm going to have to file that out. Just file it flat. I won't make you sit through that. Alright, sorry guys, another example of how this camera sucks. I cut the video and then started recording again when I drove the seal in the rest of the way. However, the camera froze up and I lost that video, so that's gone. You missed it. This thing, see there where I filed out the shoulder in the inside there. It worked nice, worked good. Got it in there. I just used a rawhide mallet to drive it on the rest of the way. And I was just saying in that video too. Gosh, this camera sucks. Try to get it to focus. But this is the kind of stuff that you'll see on my channel. You know, call it shade tree mechanic, call it cheapskate, whatever. If there's a cheap way I can make something work, that's how I work, instead of buying a one-time use expensive tool, something I'm only going to use once. So that's the Kickstarter seal. As far as I can find on YouTube, there isn't a whole lot of videos. I've only found one video for an SP600 that was for sale, but that's the only video I've ever found on YouTube. Mostly there's some DRs for the DR600s like this. This is the same engine as the DR600. This is the SP600. They're mostly over in Europe, and there isn't a whole lot of how-to videos or restoration type videos. There's some videos after the fact, after something's been restored, but so hopefully this will find somewhat of a market. You know, even if not for DR600 or SP600 or Suzuki dual sport bikes, you know, specifically, then hopefully this will offer something to anybody trying to do a dual sport on the cheap. So far, like I said at the beginning of the video, my budget for this whole bike, and I'm basically going to get a brand new 600cc dual sport bike for under $1,000. Hopefully. Hopefully the title goes through, and hopefully this thing will run and go. Well, stay tuned to see if it does. Right. I will see you nuts and bolts later. Bye.